I'm going to take you underneath this twin turbo 3.6 V6 Camaro, and we're going to walk back to see the turbocharger installation. Of course, we have a completely wrapped and insulated dual exhaust system out of stainless, no mufflers, no catalytic converters, straight through, and we allow the turbochargers to act as the mufflers. In the back here we have a hammerhead rear differential with all Dana components and WaveTrack positraction unit. We have a Denny's carbon fiber drive shaft and 1,000 horsepower axles. Everything is ultimate and heavy duty. The turbochargers are mounted in the rear, and we've made this complete enclosure to protect not only the turbochargers but the electronics and relay logic that control it. And here's the rear. Obviously it's ventilated. We've exposed the twin turbo rear mount system on the Camaro. We're using Borg-Warner 6258 EFR turbochargers, which have a titanium turbine wheel and shaft that's as light as the aluminum compressor wheel, believe it or not. They are the fastest spooling turbos on the market. This is our primary turbo mounted on the passenger side, and up there is the air filter assembly, which is protected from water, debris, etc. And we come over to the driver's side, which has the secondary turbocharger mounted. Same configuration. And of course, the exhaust of both of those turbos go back up to the front of the vehicle, to the engine. Now the secondary turbocharger feeds the primary turbocharger through this charge pipe that goes across the rear and into the outlet of the turbocharger on the passenger side, and is collected and goes up that purple charge tube all the way up to the intercooler in the front of the car. So we only have one charge pipe going forward. Now the way this system works is the car runs on the primary turbo only during horsepower requirements approximately under 300 horsepower. And at that point, the secondary turbo is commanded to come on from that power level up to maximum. And the advantage of this system is to have the instantaneous throttle response of an undersized turbo feeding any given engine up to a point, and still be able to have the full benefits of high RPM, high horsepower demand of the twin system. And we do this through what we have defined as a sequential operation. So we have a sequential twin turbo system on this car. And how this works is we designed and built a valve, which I call the sequential valve. The way this operates is this valve controls the exhaust feed to the secondary turbo, shutting it off or turning it on at a given rate, and it is commanded to do that by a electronic control system that monitors RPM, boost, and load, and thus transitions the secondary turbo to come on or remain off and idle. So that's the heart of the sequential system. Some of the electronics and logic control are mounted in this red enclosure underneath here. And what happens is that this charge tube comes over, obviously, and goes to the other turbo. Now the key to making this type of a system work is a blower valve that automatically allows the air to move from one turbo to another, but shuts off the airflow from the secondary turbo to the primary turbo if that is the only one that is spooling. And that's the secret to making the system operate. And it operates perfectly. We've had this on the car for 8 years. Now we use a TurboWorks scavenge pump to pull the oil from the bottoms of the turbos and pump it back to the engine. On this particular system, which is designed correctly, you have 0 turbo lag. It's like a blower. And that's the advantage to this system. Most people think that a rear-mounted turbo system is inefficient and has a lot of turbo lag because it's pumping all of the air down, or should I say up front, to the intercooler. But that's not true. If designed properly, it is as effective and as efficient as any front mount system that I've ever installed. It works perfectly. All the heat's in the back. However, these particular turbochargers are water cooled and have ball bearing center sections in them. So that gives you an idea of our system and how it works. In all the years that I've had this on the vehicle, I've not had one problem. And the throttle response is totally unbelievable. A few other technical specifications of this vehicle is as follows. We have dual oil filter and transmission fluid filters with coolers. We have an aluminum deep sump oil pan on the 6-speed automatic transmission. This car has an LFX engine assembly and ECU. Even though this is a 2010 that came with an LLT, we changed engines because for a turbo application, the Bosch encrypted ECU was very difficult to program. So we changed engines and made all of the body control modules talk correctly with the new operating system. We also have a 4600 stall converter in the transmission, and back in the hammerhead rear end we have 536 ratio gear set, and we run 30.5-inch tall Pirelli tires. Now with the transmission's 0.67 overdrive and the Pirelli tires, the gear combination, we can still cruise at 60 miles an hour at 2350, 2400 RPMs, which means we can go freeway driving all day long. This is a daily driver vehicle. And the hole shot on this combination, as you can probably expect, is crazy. We also have dual catch cans by RX tucked up there, one on each side. Our blow-off valve, along with the blow-off valves that are built into the Borg-Warner turbochargers. And there are just countless other modifications we have made, too numerous to list. But that gives you a basic idea of how this car is built.